to In the Zone, and that's right, is yours truly, Anthony Smith. One of the best podcasts throughout the state of Kansas, and we have a lot to unpack in the zone. So, just to give you a gist of what's going on, we know WNBA is underway, but there are some things that I'm going to bring you up to speed on. In particular, one franchise that is looking to defend its title. It's a feel-good story turned bad. Also, an NFL great laid to rest. The passing of a legend. And not only the passing of a legend, one is trying to resurrect his career. So all that is coming up on In the Zone. So let's get started. So one legend has passed on at the age of 87. One of football's greatest ever, Jim Brown. Jim Brown, one of the greatest professional and college football players of all time, has died. He was 87. His wife, Monique, announced Brown's death in an Instagram post Friday afternoon. She said Brown passed peacefully Thursday night in their home in Los Angeles. To the world, he was an activist, actor, and football star, the post stated. To our family, he was a loving and wonderful husband, father, and grandfather. Our hearts are broken. In 2020, Brown was selected to the NFL 100 all-time team and also ranked as the number one all-time football player on the college football 150 list to celebrate those sports anniversaries. He was named the greatest football player ever by the Sporting News in 2002. Brown, who was selected in the first round of the 1957 draft, played 9 seasons for the Cleveland Browns, 1957 through 65, and led the league in rushing 8 of those years. He rushed for 12,312 yards and averaged 5.2 yards per carry over his career. Not just a season, not just 3 seasons, his entire career. He also was named a Pro Bowl every year he played. He led the Browns to the league championship game 3 times, winning the title in 1964, and was named MVP 3 times. He ran for at least 100 yards in 58 of his 118 regular season games, never missing a game. He rushed for more than 1,000 yards in 7 seasons, including 1,527 yards in one 12-game season and 1,863 in a 14-game season. Brown also worked to empower the black community during the civil rights movement. In June 1967, Brown organized the Cleveland Summit, a meeting of the nation's top black athletes, including Bill Russell and Lou Alcindor, who later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to support boxer Muhammad Ali's fight against serving in Vietnam. In later years, Brown worked to curb gang violence in Los Angeles, and in 1988 founded American, a program to help disadvantaged inner-city youth and ex-convicts. Brown also advocated for modern athletes to be more involved in the black community. In a statement, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell called Brown a gifted athlete who became a forerunner and role model for athletes being involved in social initiatives outside their sports. It's impossible to describe the profound love and gratitude we feel for having the opportunity to be a small piece of Jim's incredible life and legacy, the Browns said in a statement. We mourn his passing, but celebrate the inedible light he brought to the world. Our hearts are with Jim Brown's family, loved ones, and all those he impacted. Brown retired at 30 at the top of his career. He was filming the movie The Dirty Dozen during the off-season in 1966, and production went long because of bad weather. Brown's owner, Art Modell, threatened to suspend Brown's pay if he didn't report to training camp on time. Brown opted to retire, saying he wanted to focus on his movie career and social issues. Since his retirement, no Browns player has worn his number 32, and a statue of him went up outside of First Energy Stadium in 2016. It's a great moment, Brown said when the statue was unveiled, because I feel it throughout my body, particularly in my heart and mind. Current Browns owner Jimmy and Dee Haslam called Brown a true icon for the NFL. He was certainly the greatest to ever put on the Browns uniform and arguably one of the greatest players in NFL history. A statement released Friday, Jim was one of the reasons the Browns have such a tremendous fan base today. So many people grew up watching him just dominate every time he stepped on the football field, but his countless accolades on the field only tell a small part of his story. Brown lettered in 4 sports: football, lacrosse, basketball, and track during his college career at Syracuse. And he is also considered one of the greatest lacrosse players of all time, once scoring 5 goals in one half of a collegiate all-star game. At Syracuse, Brown also served as the place kicker during one game against Colgate in 1956, scoring an NCAA single-game record with 43 points on 6 touchdowns and 7 extra points. That same season, he led the nation in rushing touchdowns. In 1955, he led the nation in kickoff return average. Overall, he rushed for 2,091 yards and scored 26 TDs for the Orange. When Jim Brown's name was announced in a room, other Hall of Famers stood and applauded him. Pro Football Hall of Fame President Jim Porter said in a statement, his persona has stood the test of time, a fearless and dominant football player. Jim will always be remembered as one of pro football's greatest individuals. Brown was involved in several off-the-field incidents, especially shortly after he retired. He was arrested a half dozen times, mostly on charges of hitting women. He was once fined and spent a day in jail after beating up a golf partner. He was charged with rape, sexual battery, and assault in 1985. The charges were later dropped. The next year, he was arrested for allegedly beating his fiancée. In 1999, Brown was acquitted of domestic threats against his wife, but convicted of smashing the window of her car and spent time in jail when he refused to attend domestic violence counseling. So there you have the news on the passing of one Jim Brown. He is gone, but he will not be forgotten, as there are plenty of videos that will showcase his talents on the field and also bring light to what he advocated off the field as well. So as I said in the beginning, as I was giving you my intro, while one is being laid to rest, another is looking to resurrect his career. Whom might that be? None other than Adrian Peterson. So the news has it that running back Adrian Peterson, 38, says he's not officially retired. Adrian Peterson is ready to take his next handoff should any NFL team offer the 38-year-old the chance in 2023. Peterson, who didn't play last season, needs 82 rushing yards to hit 15,000 for his career. He is 351 yards from tying Barry Sanders for 4th place on the all-time rushing list. He says, mentally, I haven't officially hung it up. We'll see what happens, Peterson told the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. My mindset is, if God's willing, maybe an opportunity presents itself and maybe it happens this season. I'll go from there. But if nothing happens this season, for sure, I will be hanging it up. Peterson last played in 2021, appearing in 1 game with the Seattle Seahawks and 3 with Tennessee Titans. Originally drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, Peterson also has played for New Orleans, Arizona, Washington, and Detroit. He is a 4-time All-Pro and led the NFL in rushing 3 times. So, on that note, what I am going to do, I am going to take a break. When I come back, I will talk a little WNBA, and we're going to talk about some scandals going on in Vegas. So stay in the zone. You don't want to go nowhere. Welcome back to In the Zone with Anthony, and there is, like I say, a lot going on, a lot to unpack. And yes, the WNBA season is underway, but there is some news that is newsworthy, came out last week, and I kind of want to bring light to it as to what's going on, because as much as the story of the Las Vegas Aces winning the WNBA title was a feel-good story, that franchise could be nursing a black eye, as well as damage in image control. So the WNBA suspends Hammond, strips draft pick. What's next for Las Vegas Aces Dearica Hamby? After a 3-month-plus investigation involving more than 30 people, the WNBA said last Tuesday it is suspending Las Vegas Aces coach Becky Hammond for 2 games and taking away the Aces 2025 first-round draft pick because the franchise violated league rules regarding impermissible player benefits and workplace policies. Now, I have to question, what are the guidelines for impermissible player benefits? That sounds like a term used in college. The investigation was launched because of claims made by former Aces player Dearica Hamby after she was traded to the Los Angeles Sparks in January. Hamby accused the Aces of unethical behavior. Being traded is part of the business, Hamby said in a statement posted on Instagram. Being lied to, bullied, manipulated, and discriminated against is not. Hamby played for the Aces from 2015 when the franchise was still in San Antonio as the Stars through 2022. She agreed to a 2-year contract extension with the Aces last June. Hamby was then slowed by injury during the playoffs as Las Vegas won its first WNBA title. Hamby announced during the Aces victory party that she was expecting her second child and planned to play in the 2023 season. After the trade, she said she was told she was not taking my workout seriously and that Aces personnel told her they didn't see that she'd be ready to return. She says, "I have had my character and work ethic attacked," Hamby's statement read at the time. "I was promised things to entice me to sign my contract extension that were not followed through on. What do the penalties mean for the Aces in the WNBA? Let's look at the issues involved. Does the suspension impact Hammond's reputation? 2022 was very much a feel-good year for Hammond, who, after spending 8 years as a San Antonio Spurs assistant following her WNBA playing career, at last got a head coaching job. Winning the WNBA title in her first season guiding a franchise brought Hammond and the Aces a lot of positive publicity. This puts a little tarnish on that. What bothers some WNBA followers the most is that Hammond, Aces president Nikki Fargas, and general manager Natalie Williams are all mothers themselves, and the results of the investigation suggest Hamby didn't receive the support one might have expected during her pregnancy. However, in a statement released early Tuesday evening, the Aces organization defended itself and Hammond. The Las Vegas Aces are deeply disappointed by the outcome of the WNBA investigation, the statement read. We are committed to supporting all our players to the fullest extent allowed by the WNBA. Our actions have always been consistent with our responsibility to hold ourselves to the highest professional standards, and the facts we presented were consistent with these standards. The well-being of our players and their families has and will always be at the forefront of who we are. The WNBA's determinations about Becky Hammond are inconsistent with what we know and love about her. Becky is a caring human being who forges close personal relationships with her players. We stand behind Coach Hammond as she continues to lead the Las Vegas Aces. Whether or not the real issue was that the Aces saw a chance to sign free agent Candace Parker and were ready to move on from Hamby, despite their previous agreement with her, the investigation put the onus on Hammond, as having made the comments to which Hamby objected. Hammond is not the first WNBA coach suspended for something she said. Then Connecticut Sun coach Curt Miller, now with the Sparks, was fined $10,000 and suspended one game for comments he made about player Liz Cambridge's size while arguing with an official during a 2021 game. Like many WNBA organizations, the Aces sell family atmosphere and player empowerment as part of their culture. That also might take a hit with these penalties. Does it matter to the current Aces or future free agents who might consider the organization? Those are trickier questions. For the most part, Hammond got good reviews publicly from players last season and so far this year in preseason media sessions. The Aces organization under owner Mark Davis has done a lot to make the players' everyday accommodations top-notch. But the Players Union, the WNBPA, called the WNBA's punishment for the Aces far from appropriate, saying it didn't go far enough. Hammond has a media video conference Wednesday that was scheduled before the penalties were announced. All WNBA coaches are doing those as part of the lead up to the opening of the season Friday, which kicked off last Friday. So there you have the news on what's going on with Vegas, the impermissible gifts, the treatment of a player, the allegations, the denials, whatever you want to call it. So weigh in. What do you think? Did the punishment go far enough, or was it not harsh enough? And still, how do you define impermissible gifts at the professional ranks? As a matter of fact, you don't even hear that term in college sports no more, especially with the NIL. But I get it, the WNBA, they do have a cap. And some are questioning how was the Aces able to get the players that they had with the salary cap the way it is constructed. Did the players take player-friendly or franchise-friendly deals and get kickback gifts, so to speak? I mean, after all, they are in Vegas. You got this place, that place. Oh, you play for the Aces? Okay. If you do a commercial spot or sign some autographs, we'll give you X amount. Is that what you're talking about as being impermissible gifts? I don't know. Someone educate me. Because how you get impermissible gifts at the professional level? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break and get my brain back. And hopefully someone can tell me exactly what impermissible gifts are at a professional level. Anyway, you listen to the A-Train Sports Talk. See there, I did it again. You're in the zone. Yours truly, Anthony Smith. Hope you are enjoying your day. The Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. And in that last segment, we were talking about the Aces, the Las Vegas Aces to be exact. And guess what? We are still talking about the Las Vegas Aces as we looked at the reputation of Becky Hammon's suspension and what that could mean, the workplace atmosphere. So now we're looking at what's the precedent for stripping draft picks for rules violations. So this is the first time a WNBA team has ever lost a draft pick, but it's common in the NBA. In recent years, multiple teams have forfeited second-round picks for tampering violations. The Chicago Bulls and Philadelphia 76ers lost second-round picks in the upcoming NBA draft, while the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks were stripped of them a year ago. What the Aces were found to have done is more serious than the timing-related violations recently punished by the NBA. In those cases, the transactions themselves were legal, but communication between players and teams happened prior to the beginning of free agency. The better comparison for Las Vegas' situation is when the Minnesota Timberwolves were found in 2000 to have agreed to a future contract with forward Joe Smith, allowing them to pay Smith less money as a free agent before he established bird rights and could re-sign for the promised league larger amount. The late David Stern, then the NBA commissioner, voided Smith's contract with Minnesota, making him a free agent, and stripped the team of its next 5 first-round picks, in addition to levying a $3.5 million fine. The Timberwolves ultimately got 2 of the first-rounders back, but still lost 3 picks during a period when they were trying to build a contending team around MVP Kevin Garnett. To some degree, the WNBA's hands might have been tied in punishing the Aces via draft picks. Las Vegas had already traded its 2024 first-rounder to the Sparks with Hamby. Unlike the NBA, where teams are able to trade picks up to 7 drafts in the future, the WNBA permits it just 2 years ahead, meaning the 2025 first-round pick was the only one currently in play for the Aces. Does losing a 2025 draft pick really hurt the Aces? At this point, the 2024 and 2025 NBA drafts are expected to have franchise-changing players, because the upcoming senior class still has the COVID-19 waiver possibility to play 5th year in college. It's uncertain which of the top players will go to the draft in 2024, but 2025 looks strong. That said, the Aces championship favorites this year. Star Ajay Wilson is an unrestricted free agent for 2024, but Las Vegas has 4 other key players: Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Alicia Clark, under contract through 2024. In short, it's unlikely the Aces will be a draft lottery team in 2025, which probably takes away the sting of potentially losing a major start in the draft then. These penalties might hurt the Aces' reputation, but will they be a deterrent across the league to prevent this type of situation happening again? That's the question we can't answer right now, but the hope is that teams take this seriously. What can we make of the fact that the WNBA could not substantiate salary cap circumvention by the Aces? Without actually seeing the results of the investigation, it's hard to decipher. On one hand, the league said the penalties were for violations of rules regarding impermissible player benefits and workplace policies. With the WNBA having a hard salary cap, could impermissible player benefits be seen as a type of circumvention of the cap? As one general manager told ESPN, such things can be a bit more difficult for the league to judge. If a franchise such as Las Vegas gets players appearance deals based on relationships the Raiders or Aces, both owned by Davis, have with local businesses, that isn't necessarily circumventing the cap, even if it means putting more money in a player's pockets. If a WNBA team promises to pay for certain services for players, such as school tuition for children, that can be seen as circumvention. At this point, based on the league's statement, it couldn't verify that against the Aces. In their statement, the Aces also addressed this. As expected, the facts did not demonstrate that the Aces violated the salary cap by paying players under the table or acted impermissibly during the 2023 free agency period. We look forward to continuing to support our players, coaches, employees, and the Las Vegas community. So, is there a next step for hapve? It's unknown at this point if she intends to take legal action against the Aces based on the respect in the workplace violation the league said came from comments Hammond made to hapve about the player's pregnancy. Hapve didn't lose her job as a WNBA player when she was traded, but she still might have a case that she was discriminated against and dealt with trauma because of the remarks made to her and the need to move from the organization where she had spent her entire WNBA career. In its statement, the union said it will support hapve as she considers further options. In a video posted on Twitter by John W. Davis of the Long Beach Press Telegram, hapve spoke with reporters Tuesday in Los Angeles about the WNBA's decision, which she says she found out about Monday. I kind of want to move forward and focus on where I am today. I'm healthy. I'm happy. My son is healthy, hapve said of her baby, Legend. I'm going to be playing basketball this season. This part of it is over. Me and the union will continue to explore more options. hapve said she called Los Angeles General Manager Karen Bryant before a training camp because she was ready to get back to playing. She returned quickly after having her first child, daughter Amaya, and is back again after Legend's birth. The Sparks opened the 2023 WNBA season on Friday, which was last Friday, against the Phoenix Mercury. Says, I'm not going to try to put too much pressure on myself. I'm focusing on getting back into shape and turning the motor back on for basketball, hapve said. But I'm going to play. I told Coach Kurt Miller to hold me to the same standard you would if I was fully healthy or not recovering from pregnancy. I work hard, and I think that will speak for itself. I've been having to dial myself in and not make it personal to prove the Aces wrong. Right now, I'm proving to myself and my kids I can do it. Initially, when the trade happened, I doubted myself a little bit. But I'm back. I'm a tough player. I've got to go back and embrace physicality I'm prepared for on Friday. So it looks like she will be balling again soon. So we wish De'Arica hapve the best of luck in her return to the court. This has been another edition of In the Zone with Anthony. Hope you have enjoyed it. Until the next time, always stay locked in the zone. I'm out.